You're a man of religion in some ways, aren't you, Shaun? Did you talk to God a little bit? Did you have conversations with God about where your life was going, where your career was going?
Yeah, I think, God's not really in cricket games. He's more concerned about you individually and your personality and what you are. And from that perspective, I was lucky to have that my whole way through my career. I really did understand where my talents had come from. So I didn't get ahead of myself or think I was too good. I realized that the talents were only on loan, and that at some stage would be taken away. So it kept everything in perspective for me, and I think that was the calming influence that allowed me just to get out there and try and do as best I can, because I knew where my talents had come from.
Why taken away? It's an interesting line, that I thought my talents were on loan but would be taken away.
Well, they are, because I knew I couldn't play forever. There was going to come a time when you retire, and those cricketing talents that I was blessed with were only part of your life for a certain period. And I think once you finished, you understand it even more, that it's only a phase of your life. And I was very fortunate to have done the things where I did, and really enjoyed it.
Do you think you're almost too nice to be captain? Too easygoing?
I don't know about that. I think different people's different styles, personalities work as leaders of time. I think for me, probably the biggest thing was that I wasn't really the man who was going to take over the job. It was almost like by default that I got given the captaincy because of what happened with Hansi. Maybe 2 years further down the line, people would have realized, okay, well, he is going to take over, and they'd be more ready to accept my ideas and whatever. It was also a bit of a difficult period when you take over from captaincy. Hansi was given a lot of power. From the board's perspective, they decided that they wanted to cut that back quite a bit, and that the captain didn't have as much control. So it was difficult to implement your kind of strategies. But I felt when I finished captaincy, my record was pretty good, and I felt like I still had quite a bit to offer, and I wanted to lead the team in a certain direction. But as I say, that's life.
That was a slightly frustrating time, though, for you, wasn't it? I mean, the captaincy had moved, and then suddenly Graeme Smith was captain. You weren't getting the new ball. Was that sort of frustrating for you? Because you didn't enjoy it. I know you didn't.
Well, I don't know about it. Frustrating. I think you're going through a new phase. You've got to try and work things out again. You've obviously done things a certain way, and now you're not doing them. You're not involved in making the decisions. You're down at fine leg, sort of picking your nose a little bit. The new ball's been taken away, so now how do I got to adjust? How do I be effective? But it involves the thought process of me going back to what did I always want to do? I wanted to play cricket for my country. And what did I have to do going forward to make sure I didn't jeopardize that, and that I continued to do it? And it just involved a bit of a different mindset and putting a lot of attention into helping the young guys.
I mean, you're a pretty young man, 91, 92. Very soon you'd started to play for South Africa. Those must have been fantastic times in South Africa. And it's difficult to believe it's been, what, 18, 19 years now since then. Do you think South Africa's done enough in world cricket? Do you think they've done what they could have done, or could have done better? Or?
Yeah, it was scary. I mean, I think in 91 I was writing my matric exams, watching the bad footage on TV of South Africa.
You don't have to be kind all the time.
It wasn't great. We couldn't see much, and it was exciting. I mean, the timing was perfect. Finishing school, going to varsity, and now we're back in international cricket. I wanted to be an international cricketer. It couldn't have worked out better for me. From a South African perspective, I think we did really well. The fact that we've been out of cricket for that length of period and fitted back so quickly, and we're really competitive. I think we did really good. We've had a few issues. We're a unique country. We've got its own challenges, and I think if you had to give us a mark, I'd probably say I think we've done A. Probably a few World Cups and maybe the odd more Test series wins would have put us on an A+. But I would say on our report card so far, since we've been back, we definitely get an A.
Do you sometimes look at that England lineup and look at those top five and say they're playing for the wrong team?
I think, obviously people like Trott and Peterson have done really well. And when you do see them, you think, geez, I wonder if they just stayed, what they would have brought to the mix and what kind of career they would have had in South Africa. So I do find myself thinking that from time to time. But no, I think people like Strauss and that moved a lot earlier than
and Pryor and the others.
Yeah, they established themselves there and they made a reputation for themselves. I think
this is a bit difficult for you because you're a unique dynasty in South African cricket. But if you're a young kid today and you found a couple of roads blocked for you, would you consider going to England, serving out the time there, or would the Pollock name be so strongly South African that you wouldn't even be allowed to do that?
Yeah, I wouldn't think I would have made that move. Maybe I've gone over to play county cricket, but still as a South African. But it's become business, and I think that's the big thing that people need to understand is there's jobs out there, and there's money to be made, and the strength of the pound is very attractive for South Africans, and the opportunity, as I mentioned, 18 counties. There's opportunity to go and play. So it's an unfortunate thing, but that's the economics of the world.
Yeah, how much of a problem, therefore, is it for South African cricket?
Oh, I think it is a problem, but I don't think it's a massive one. I think, we've got a good system of identifying young players. I mean, in India, sometimes they'll go out to, say, the lesser places and you'll come across a guy who's 23 and, gee, he looks like he's a good talent, and you get him involved.
I thought for a while you were going to say he looks like he's 32 or something. But I said it, not you, so it's okay.
But in South Africa, we identify young talent at ages of 12. We've got these weeks where each guy represents his province. So in general, a lot of the talent that is around is identified and earmarked for future success. There's a couple that slip through the net, and that is unfortunate.